Hello, Professor. So in this video, I will be explaining all four codes that I created for Lab 1. I will explain the general function of each code, and I will explain what I added to the code and the results of each of the four codes I'm showing. So without further ado, here I go. So as you can see here, I'm starting off with hello world.py. If I run this, the result comes out here. Moving on to the loan calculator with the total interest. Here we are creating a calculator that simulates, well, a loan calculator. These are all functions that make the calculator work, but to show you what I've changed, this is what I've changed. I made comments in each line to show what each line represents. This is essentially the numerator, this is the denominator, and this is how you're getting the monthly payment. This is the equation it's supposed to be, and I made sure that everything before everything here eventually created this equation. So this is how you get monthly payment, and total interest paid is right here. So this is the function for total interest paid. This is monthly payment, and when I run the code, you would have this little box. If I put in the numbers, it will give me the computation. The monthly payment is here. The total interest paid is here, which is the function that was added, and the total payment is here. Originally the total interest paid was in the bottom, but I thought that it made more sense to put it up here rather than below the total payment. So I moved total interest paid on top of total payment. And that is the loan calculator. Now we're moving on to the simple calculator. I called it the improved simple calculator because of what I've improved. And this is the code that essentially runs the calculator. This part of the code is what generates the functions for each button of the calculator, and these are the part of the code that generates the button itself. And what I've added in terms of functions is factorial and the inverse operator. So these are the functions I added, two functions I added, and these are the two buttons I added for you to use them. So if I run this code, if I put in 6 factorial, you would have 720, which makes sense. And then if you do an inverse of that, you would have this. Well, it's easier if let me clear all this. If I put in 5, if I do inverse, it should be 0.2, and it is 0.2. So everything else works. I made sure to make the calculator look better than before, and I just went with a black and orange Call of Duty theme. COD Black Ops 3 theme, orange and black. Now for the final code, the game, this is essentially what creates the game. This is where all the images are stored. Well, not stored, called. Hit and miss. This is all the functions that draws the screen and places all the images in the screen. This is a function I added, so the more points you have, the more text that pops up in the code in the screen. And this is how the game is actually run. And these are the lines I've added. Now, if I were to run it, you would have these images. See, it's 2 points, so you text every 2 points, text pop up. Savage. It's DMC5 reference. Then another one should pop up right now, and another one should pop up right now. So yeah, and if you miss, the 50-50% chance it's either the orange or pineapple that moves. So this is essentially my game of Python. Now as for the executable file, let me prove that I was able to do the executable file. I will execute them directly on the files. So if I double click this, execute, let me close Anaconda. Let me close. So if I execute this, code runs, and this is for the game. If I execute the loan calculator, it also executes properly. And if I execute the simple calculator, it also works properly. And that is it for Lab 1.